I mean, I do have certain limits, but I let the writers go in the direction that they want and the most extreme directions. And it seemed like over the years, the farther and farther out that we could push the envelope and move into the stratosphere in ideas and situations that were not normally seen on your average TV show or your regular TV show. Then we got more and more popular, and especially with the younger kids. Now, I know that some of our stuff is very racy and kind of very outlandish, like off the chart, and it speeds up to hyperspace when it comes to the kind of gauche and un-PC things that we do, and sexual things, and all kinds of stuff that goes on up there. But we try to keep it within a framework so that we don't offend too many people. If looking at me coming out of a couch naked is offensive, then you can't look at it. That's do it. But I'm going to do it.
And Danny DeVito, I remember looking back there doing our research there about your debut on the series, and the instance where you pop up in front of the van there in season 2, and they back on front of Charlie Day's character, and he winds up inside the hospital. And from there on, maybe you could see the outlandish twists and the outrageous sort of storylines that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is all about a guy that has so much money, who was a corrupt businessman, now wants to relive his sort of youth with this younger generation and his own sort of kids. And maybe you can tell us what you think of the Frank Reynolds character, Danny DeVito.
Well, I think that you're hitting it right. You're hitting the nail on the head. That the basic premise of Frank's excitement is that, like a normal guy who would make a bundle of money doing whatever he did, would probably, like a regular guy, would probably just, go find get a great house by the beach somewhere and kick back and have somebody bring him a Mai Tai in the morning and then one in the afternoon and maybe a little something at night, and have a lot of, carnal pleasures just by himself. But Frank didn't want to do that. He wanted experience. He's businessman all his life. Always nose to the grindstone, trying to make ends meet in various ways, and sometimes not the most legal ways. And but he was always admired when he was a hippie, when he was a guy in his early days in the 60s, when he would just hang out, in apartments that were like Charlie's apartment is a perfect example of what Frank really wants. He wants to live in a room where you don't have to pick up your underwear. You don't have to do the normal expected things that a guy has to do. And so I think that's one of the things that was attractive to me, because I'm very I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I figure that if you can pull out all the stops, and let the thing sing, and don't put any chains on the writers and their influence, then you might have a hell of a lot of fun. And I'm telling you, man, we've been having I have a lot of fun. I only work in the show. We do it in 12 weeks. 10 episodes in about 12 weeks. And maybe less sometimes. Sometimes we have a break in there. We'll do an episode sometimes in 3.5 days. And it's it's so much fun, it's almost a crime. We just go in the morning. We get in there at 7 early in the morning, because you want to. That's a whole other story why we work too early. I think we work too early, but I understand it why we do. And you're out of there by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But you've just had such a concentrated amount of insane fun that it just goes by like a shot. And and that 12 weeks I wish was more. I always think it's always sad when we finish work, and to have a job like that, for an actor, I go do stage work, and I do a movie here and there. Dumbo's coming out in worldwide, I think, on March 29th.
Yep.
And I did that with Tim Burton. It's my fourth time working with Tim Burton. We have such a good time. I've been very fortunate in my career to have projects that, I work with friends, and and now this is like a gift.
Yeah.
Because, every actor, it's a very difficult job. I mean, it looks like all sunglasses and limousines, but in the very beginning, when you're starting out, when everybody is out there trying to take the bull by the horns and really, learn their craft and do it, it's a gift when you get a job that, goes like this. Taxi was a gift. That was a wonderful 5 years of my life. So I was very fortunate, right from in the late 70s, to have that. And then I, did the movies and stuff. But this kind of job is it's like a sure thing for an actor. So you go, you're going to be able to keep the lights on. And every actor knows that that's the most important thing, to have that security, because it's one of those jobs that you never know. You're either under a lucky star, or you're you're in the shitter.
And Danny, I suppose look at the cast in relation to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie Day, Glenn Howerton, Kathleen Olsen, Rob McElhenney. I suppose all real funny people and real funny characters that have gone on to be massive successes globally. And you must got to know them over the past few seasons and the past few years. And you must have developed a great friendship with all those guys. And I'm sure they're just as funny off the set as they are on the set.
Oh yeah, they're really funny. They're really good. The initial meeting of those guys, like 14 years ago, and Caitlin, was one of the best things about it was that they were just so friendly and fun and carefree in a kind of a good way. I mean, they do they do a lot of things for people. They help other people. They do a lot of stuff, but they're carefree. They're free. They're improv. Very, 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 very off the cuff and very sweet. And of course, Charlie and Glenn and Mac do most of the heavy lifting and the writing of the show. I mean, they have other writers contribute, but they're really the bones of the show, in terms of the ideas and the insanity. And as much as I push and say, and over the years I've said it a million times, let's push the envelope, let's keep it on the outer edge. It's simple for them. They're like that. They're like just, I don't know what it is. There's a gene inside of three of them that they have a very easy time navigating to the absurd.
And Danny DeVito, I suppose I gotta love the Irish element in it. The pub itself, Paddy's Irish Pub. You couldn't get a more Irish name than Paddy's anyway, that's for sure. And Danny, I know you've been to Ireland several times in the past, and what you make of the country, and what are some of your memories of coming to Ireland?
I love Ireland. In fact, yesterday I was just hanging out with Colin Farrell. We were doing some press work. We're in Dumbo together, and with Michael Keaton, and we were just hanging out together. And at the end of the session, we were working all day doing. We were on stage doing stuff for Disney and having some fun and just clowning around. And at the end of the day, he says, "Tomorrow I'll be in Ireland, driving up the Irish coast." And I said, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going back. He goes back all the time, and I love it. I love him. He's so good. I have relatives there because my grandfather's brother, and the way the story goes, my grandfather's brother was leaving Italy in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And my grandfather went to Ellis Island.
Wow.
And my grandfather's brother went to Belfast.
Yeah. And Danny.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he raised a family of DeVitos starting in Belfast. And I went to visit some of the DeVitos, and I came to promote Matilda.
Yeah.
Because the movie that I directed, Matilda. And I went to O'Connell Street, and I went to where they worked, and then I went to Kilkee, and I met a lot of the family, and we had Italian food with an Irish roast.